Well, hello, my soul friends. It's Victoria. I'm feeling giddy, happy, joyful about this new moon in Cancer. I want to talk to you about, how the feeling of summer, which, by the way, we are in summer in the northern hemisphere now because we just had summer solstice on the 20th, which meant the sun was at 0 degrees of Cancer, ushering us into summer here in the northern hemisphere and winter in the southern hemisphere. But anyway, here, that feeling of summer and a summer vacation where you just get to release all the stress, ground into your heart desires, and play with what is. I feel that about this new moon in Cancer happening on June 25th at 3:32 a.m. Pacific time at 4 degrees of Cancer. It's really a time, I believe, to rewrite your story of what home, family, security feel like for you. This Cancer new moon calls us to nurture not just our outer world, but mostly our inner worlds. It's a lot of the work that I do as a soul nurturer, and I'll tell you more about that in a moment. But it's a call, a reminder, an invitation to create that inner sanctuary in your own heart, in your own being, within yourself, okay? And it's also a time to vision for higher possibilities for your life, for your personal lives, and also for this home we share called the Earth, our collective home. And so some things may be arising. There's a lot of themes with this Cancerian new moon. I'll tell you more about that. And first of all, happy personal new year, my Cancer soul friends. This is your time to shine. This is the time for you to set your new intentions for your new year and to be empowered with a vision that's specific to your soul's desires. Okay, so comment below with your birthday. I'd love to wish you a personal, happy personal new year, solar return. And also for those who are watching, let me know where you're viewing from. I'd love to know that. Okay. So some of the themes or some of the questions on our heart that may be arising at this time is it time to make that move? Either literally moving from where you live to a new place, or moving from your, as I call it, the old neighborhood. I think I have a video specific to this, the old neighborhood of your conditioning, your programming, to the new neighborhood that is a foundation of support to allow you to expand into your potential and possibilities. This is so much what this new moon is about. But it could also mean or be opening up the question on your heart is it time to expand your family? Now, this could be, deciding to have children or adopt, or maybe that could be a community family. But it's all about expanding family, nurturing, it's a time of renewal. I really feel like this new moon, it feels like a full moon in some ways, because it's really going to expand what we need to look at in certain areas of our life connected to these themes, and specifically where 4 degrees of Cancer is falling in your natal chart. So if you don't know your natal chart, please do reach out to me at victoriajazwick.com. I'd be happy to offer you a 20-minute consultation to talk about that, or to talk about how I could support you as a soul guide to navigate what you are transitioning through, what you are experiencing, to get you to calmer waters, to get you to that new shore of possibilities. Or go to astro.com. It's a free service that you can put in your birth time and birth information and look at your chart. But this is where someone like me can help, because it is a whole different language. Astrology is it's a soul language, and you have to learn the symbology of this language to understand it more deeply. So I'd be happy to help you. Anyway, if you know what house this is going to fall in, the house that is ruled by Cancer, if you follow whole sign, makes it easier, or where 4 degrees of Cancer is in your chart. And this is the house that you're getting a renewal, a refresh, a call to nurture potential in that house and what that house symbolizes. For instance, it's falling in my sixth house and my chart. So it's a period of renewal and focus on daily routines, health, um, work. It's sixth house is your vocation, but it's really the mundane routines and also how we take care of our bodies. So I've been knowing for a while I need a refresh in this area. And so the reason why this is a more amplified new moon, it feels like this, it almost feels like a new year. It's like, okay, it feels like 2025 has been kind of clunky and kind of like anybody like, when am I going to get a moment to catch my breath? When am I going to get a moment to connect back to vision? This is that moment. So for so many reasons. So it's really connecting into that soul knowing, and think about all the obstacles, all the challenges you've been experiencing. They've been strengthening you to meet this moment. Are you ready? I hope you are. Okay. Anyway, so yes, go find where that is in your chart, but I'm going to be talking about my intuitive take for the overall collective experience, the astrological weather that we may be experiencing together. Okay. So, I did mention we are in Cancer season now, and some of you do celebrate something on the solstice. Here again in the Northern Hemisphere, it's summer, and then in the winter, it is in the winter, and then in the South, in the Southern Hemisphere, it is winter. So we honor this time. Remember, so it's similar to the astrological new year of in April when the sun is at 0 degrees Aries. It's like, what was that, March. That is when it's like, yes, this is when the new year feels like it's starting. And that's typical, the spring energy emerging, new potential. But it's been, like I said, a slow and clunky and maybe constricted because there's been a lot going on in the world that has created constriction, fear, pulling within. And even though Cancer energy, and I'd love to hear from my Cancer friends, tell me more about what it's like being a Cancer. We could feel the need to pull within. Think of the symbol of Cancer is the crab. Go, into the safety of our own shell, right? And I think some of us, like me, I have a North Node in Cancer. When the world gets louder, I need to get quieter. I need to go in. I need to just find sanctuary, home in my own being, in my own heart. And I imagine a lot of you do. It's one of the things I do with my clients right away. We got to find that safe place, cultivate that safe place inside, especially during this Cancerian season. So, so why it's so amplified though is because this lunation and a new moon, just as a reminder, is when the sun and the moon are exactly conjunct. And this is why we can't see the new moon, because the sun is they're so close that you can't see the moon. Then as the sun starts to move away from the moon, we start to see the crescent moon, and then it starts to grow into the gibbous and all the way to the full moon and back through the cycle. So it is a time to turn within, to get clear in that, then the darkness just before the moon begins to wax back to being seen. We go into the unseen world, our dreams, our visions, especially with this new moon, because we have Neptune and Saturn in Aries conjunct, creating a square to this lunation. So that new moon, sun and moon at 4 degrees of Cancer. And then we have Jupiter joining the party. I always think about the planetary movement. It's like the different characters of our story coming together to help us evolve, unfold our story. So Jupiter is showing up saying, how can I help? Now, how does Jupiter help? Jupiter first expands and amplifies everything. So we often think about Jupiter as, such a blessing, and it is, as all aspects are, even though they seem scary or, no, everything comes to support us or help us evolve. So Jupiter, though, first is going to expand what we need to see in areas of our life that we need to nurture, areas of our life like family, like how we were mothered or weren't mothered, how we are as mothers, where we still need to remother ourselves or claim that right to offer yourself what you needed that you didn't get because you need it to fulfill your potential. So Jupiter, like it can feel maybe overwhelming at first when you start to see what's going on, especially where it's in your house chart, wherever that is. It may feel like, whoa, that's a lot to take in. But what I want to invite you to is to say, okay, think about like if it's overwhelming and loud, like it's a screaming, tantruming child who needs your attention. And your call is to open your heart to whatever is feeling overwhelming and say, how can I wrap my heart around you? The parts of you that come alive at this time, or whatever life challenge is happening, wrap your heart around it to say, how can I nurture you? How can I nurture this situation, this experience into healing, into transformation, into a new potential, right? And Cancerian energy is, well, Cancer is a water sign. It's a cardinal sign, initiating something new, doing something new. And also, it's ruled by the moon. So it's this, like, just as we do with the new moon to the full moon with these videos that I do, we start with that quiet, heartfelt, soul-felt intention. And then it grows and grows and grows until it gets to the full moon, which is called the culmination point. It's where we see where we are, what we still need to do, what we need to release. And that's how the Cancer season goes too. We slowly start into the awareness of how are you living? I used to, Iana Van Sant was one of my spiritual mentor teachers. And I believe she, or was it Reverend Michael, one of my, they were my like spiritual parents for a while. How are you living? This is what the new moon in Cancer is asking. How are you living in your own inner world, in the external world? And what do you need to feel able to fulfill the potential Creator put in your soul? Cancer requires security. Hard to cultivate that. I know, I'm not going to say hard. More challenging, perhaps, during a time of uncertainty that we're all sharing, this collective time of uncertainty. But requires certainty. Not certainty, a sense of inner security, safety, a feeling of, because Cancers, let me tell you a little bit Cancer traits for a little bit, because I love my Cancer friends. And again, I have North Node in Cancer. My best friend is Cancerian, July 4th. Lori, happy birthday, happy season for you. And by the way, because Jupiter is in Cancer, Cancer is really blessing sun sign Cancers. Like this season, whenever Jupiter conjuncts your natal sun sign, is a time of, again, expansion, more energy. First, you may see what's not working to be invited into your blessings. I always say we must prepare to receive our blessings. So this new moon is inviting us to that, really prepare. How do we prepare? Well, we look at the foundation of our lives and we get busy building more inner security or physical security in your life, in your home, and the way you live, in your family. So yeah, Cancer traits, it's they are, I always think of Cancer people as, well, they're emotional, water sign, but there's a protective, I wouldn't say guard, I'd say protection, like just like the crab, right? With the shell. The shell protects the vulnerability of the inner world. So Cancers are emotional and they can be protecting themselves until you get to know them more, and then they invite you in deeper. But you see this because they're very protective of those they love, right? They're very sentimental. They keep the memories alive and traditions alive. They're connected to mothering and nurturing, home and hearth. And the sign of Cancer is connected to our lineage, our roots. It's also connected to the fourth house in our charts. So it's all about all those themes. So I was thinking about, with this Cancer new moon, what it feels like. It's to pause and say, okay, what did I learn? What's in the old neighborhood? What's in the file of my mind connected to family, connected to mothering? Remember, I always say the mind is very much like a computer. We have this hardwired information that runs all of the functions of our body, beating our heart, helping us regulate. Of course, these days we need to help ourselves regulate more. But then in the subconscious mind, which is where we spend 95% of our awareness, this is where we have programmed conditioned information. And I like to think of it like files in the mind. So that file that was programmed when you were a child, how does my family do life? What does family mean? Is it safe? Is it healthy? Is it happy? Is it connected? Do we communicate? Do we not? What does mother file hold for you? What associations, references are in there for you? And it's important to review at this time because you can set intentions with this new moon is what we do. It's a fresh opportunity. What do I intend for? What do I hope for? But you set an intention that your subconscious mind doesn't have resources or references for. You'll go back to that old neighborhood and recreate what you've always known because it's more familiar to you. Does that make sense? Please let me know if you have any questions. And this is how I work as a transformational hypnotherapist, coupled with my training as a Jungian-based spiritual director. So this is why I call myself a soul guide. I help navigate the soul experience with a soulful, sacred perspective to witness the journey of the human experience unfolding with all the challenges and surprising twists and turns, right? So again, go to my website if you'd like to learn more. Go on the testimonials to learn more about how I work and what people feel about my work. It's the best way to communicate what I do is the testimonials. So thinking about, this Cancer season, this new moon, it is about reviewing our traditions, reviewing what we believe about family, what we believe about ourselves based on our family, what we believe about our mothering or being mothered. And how many of you have had this experience as mothers where, when we're kids and we're being programmed, and this is not a bad thing. This is how we navigate Earth, right? We start to construct our identity, our ego, which I love Wayne Dyer's acronym for that, which is edging God out. Also, I believe he said, Earth guide only. The ego is meant to just help us navigate this world, to not be led by it and drug around by the ego. And also, my chair just fell down. Well, that was a nice surprise. By the way, there is going to be surprises, I believe, with this new moon. Thanks for the reminder, God. Unexpected insights and breakthroughs. And I'll tell you more about that in a moment. That was fun. I hit the little thing that pushes my chair down. Anyway, woke me up. Hope it woke you up. So traditions, doing the same thing over and over again. You know that saying too. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, hoping for a different result. You can't have that different result until you take the time, which is what a new moon offers us. Take the time, pause, reflect on what you desire, and then ask yourself, does my subconscious mind hold enough information to support this intention? Really, it's as simple as and as complicated as that. So I always tell this story. I've been telling this story for years, probably heard it from Wayne Dyer. I don't know. I've been a transformational healer for over 26 years, maybe 30 if you talk about when I really set the intention to go for this path. Maybe longer if you consider this is how I navigated my life, by reaching for people like Louise Hay or Wayne Dyer, or just all the people when I was a kid that were like my guides to move me from dysfunction to possibilities, right? So many of you might have heard this story, but I'm going to share it again. So this family, they have a traditional Sunday meal. Okay, so the woman is making what she learned from her mother, and her mother learned from her grandmother, this roast beef meal. So the husband's watching her, like noticing, gosh, I notice every time you make roast beef, you cut off a half inch on each side before you put it in the pan. Why? And she's like, oh, this is the way you're supposed to do roast beef. My mom taught me, my grandmother taught her, you have to do it this way. But he's like, but why? And she said, well, I don't know, maybe it makes the beef more tender. I'm not sure if this is the way you're supposed to do it. Okay, fine. The next month, her mother comes for dinner, and they're in the kitchen together. Again, the husband's still curious. Why do you cut the edges off of the roast beef? Oh, well, this is the way you do it. But why? Well, I don't know. My mom always did it this way. I think it's something to do with, tenderizing the meat, just like the daughter said. So finally, a month later, great grandmother comes, and the husband's like, finally, I'm going to get the answer. I don't understand. This doesn't make any sense. So he asks the grandmother, why do you teach to cut the edges off the roast beef before cooking it? And she looks at him puzzled, like, I don't know what you're talking about, but my pan is so small, I always had to trim a little bit off. So the point of the story is the grandmother had a purpose for that. There wasn't a purpose beyond it. Didn't fit her pan. It didn't do anything to the meat. It didn't have to be that way. And it became tradition because nobody stopped to ask, why? Why do we do this? Why do we believe this? This new moon in Cancer is inviting you to ask why. What's the purpose? And here's the bigger question. Does it help me in any way? Does it help me nurture my potential? Does it help me activate my possibilities? If not, then it's time to disinherit those patterns from your family, because we get these hand-me-down beliefs, we get these inherited traditions, and they may not work for you. In fact, they may be, I'm getting an image of a bonsai tree, where you know how bonsai trees are, it's the seed of potential for a big tree to grow, but put in a small container where the roots can't expand beyond that container. If the roots of your life cannot expand beyond the traditions of your family or what you learned and never questioned, your potential is going to be stilted. Okay? So it's a time to question that, journal about what's no longer useful, or what did I learn? Does it serve any purpose that supports me? If not, what can I do instead? And there becomes your intuition, your intention, but follow your intuition is very important with Cancer season. Your intention for doing something more aligned with fulfilling your potential. Okay. So you get to create new healthy traditions at this time. So the call of this new moon, the invitation is, like I said, review those inherited beliefs and family dynamics. What's constricting you? What's keeping you in a way of being that doesn't feel authentic to your soul? Ask yourself in particular, again, the moon, Cancer is connected to mother or the feminine energy, whoever was the nurturer or supposed to nurture you. What patterns from your mother or the feminine or the caregiver of your family are you still carrying that are constricting you? And what did you need when you were a child that you need now in order to fulfill the promise of your potential? Again, you can journal these, answer them in the comments. You're free to comment as much as you want on my channel. In fact, I love comments. They help me get back. I stopped doing videos for a little while, and then I got a bunch of emails and felt encouraged to come back, but I lost a lot of viewers. So please consider subscribing, comment as much as you can, as much as you want, because the more you comment, and go watch a video after this, whatever one, just click on one and watch it, because that helps my algorithm. I'm not very techie, but helps me get back out into those bigger possibilities in the YouTube world, where I could one of my videos can land in front of someone who maybe needs exactly what I have to say. And I hope that's you. And I hope you feel nurtured by this video. I hope you feel seen. I hope you feel encouraged. I hope you feel inspired. And I hope you feel hugged right where you are. Okay. So next question, again, you can journal. How can I become the nurturer for my own potential? How can you give yourself exactly what you needed in a consistent, loving, mothering way? So remember that Cancer's archetype is about compassion, protection, emotional sensitivity, and cultivating security, okay? So we have a number of aspects too, and I do want to say really quick, I'm running out of time, but I do want to look at the chart real quick because we've had so many changes in planets moving into new signs. So we're in Cancer season. We know this. Mercury is still in Cancer, but it's at the very end, and it's also making, this is the aspect to Uranus, the sextile to Uranus. So we're thinking of new innovative ways to break free out of our limited patterns connected to nurturing family, kids, how we mother. I find with moms and parents, I'm going to give you a big secret here to help you. In fact, let me pause the video for a minute and get your journal, or just get a piece of paper. For those of you who are parents, or maybe you're around kids, you're an auntie, or you just love kids, write down what I wish for my child or what I wish for my niece. Take a moment to write that out and notice what you write. And here's why. What I have found is, especially with parents, I'll have them do this, and they'll write this beautiful list of what I wish for my child is this beautiful list of encouragement, and I hope they feel seen and loved, and they feel protected enough to pursue all that they desire, that they feel loved and safe. And I noticed what they say that has the most kind of like, oh, that just gets me in the heart every time. And then I say to them, and I will say to you, what I wish for you is what you just wrote down for your child or someone you love. I wish that you, during this new moon, will be willing to step forward for yourself and say, I'm worthy of what I needed. And what you give to others to help them with their potential is what you need. I know I'm talking to somebody, and if it's you, comment below. Okay, so we're going to have insightful breakthroughs with that. We have Venus in Taurus, and that is in 20 degrees. So that also is very nurturing and grounding, and that's rooting us in potential. Mars is now in Virgo, and that Mars is really wanting us to prune, to purge, to get more streamlined in how we move through the world, what we're doing, and how we're doing it. And then again, we have Neptune and Saturn in Aries. This, I feel, those two together is really becoming a spiritual warrior for our life, for our potential. And because it creates a square to this lunation, it's about taking action, really saying, people say that squares are hard, and it's considered an hard aspect, but really it's kind of like a push to take some action on behalf of you, and to do it in a bold way and assertive. Be bold and assertive for your potential, for your nurturing, for protecting what is yours to grow and cultivate for your life. Okay, so I think I already covered aspects enough. I just want to go here. I will say that this conjunction to Jupiter may feel like optimism, and even though you may feel like, whoo, let's go, really drop some roots. Cancerian energy is about roots or lineage. Look at the roots, the root of your beliefs, but then drop some roots that are supportive. And the way that I teach that is, what do you need? I need to feel safe. I need to have trust. I need whatever. Imagine breathing that in through your body, dropping it down through your feet into the earth, into Mother Earth. In fact, if you, I work with a lot of young women who were either relate to being unmothered, or had a difficult the mother wound. They relate to the mother wound, or motherless daughters like myself. My mom died when I was really young. So we need to learn to mother ourselves. We need to partner with or call in surrogate mothers, and we have Mother Earth. And I want you just to feel that feminine energy of all you need every time you put your feet on the earth. Ground into the energy, or lie down on the ground and feel held and love and support. Okay? All right. So I'm wondering what new intentions you may be setting. Probably called to something around self-care, practices that nurture you, staying in connection with yourself, putting your hand over your heart. It's a good one. to do, and to create both an inner and outer home that feels supportive and safe. I wish this for all of you. I know for some of you, this isn't even a potential right now. I pray that it will be for you, okay? You're worthy of that. Healing the mother wound, becoming the mother you needed. I said that already. Releasing outdated family patterns, building new traditions that align with your soul and your potential, okay? So what would it look like to create a home within yourself and around yourself that allows you to feel loved, safe, supported, nurtured, and able to grow your potential? I wish that for you. I do. So, and last thing I want to say is that new moons, usually, you could say 2 weeks from now when we have a full moon, you can see how you're doing. But really, it's a 6 months. There's different increments, but I follow the 6 months. So this is a new moon in Cancer. We're setting intentions. You're going to check in 6 months when the full moon is on January 1st, 2026. The full moon in Cancer at 10 degrees. How far you've come with your desires, Maybe you desire with this new moon, it's time to get pregnant. And there you are. Nurturing the baby in your womb as you're nurturing yourself. And I wish that for you if that's something you desire. But so you're going to 6 months from now, you're going to check in and see how are the seeds of possibilities growing within you. Okay. So just to wrap up, I just want to say this new moon again reminds you to root deeply into, I'm going to say the word again, and what most nurtures you. Release what constricts you, what doesn't fit, which instead of nurturing you, harms you, hurts you, delays you, constricts you, and plant seeds for a life that you just feel like, oh, this is what I desire. This is who I am. It's rebirthing yourself, right? So just remember, I want to encourage you to give yourself permission. This is your life. You can create family the way family feels aligned with your soul. You can be the best mother to yourself. You can be the architect of your own life, building an inner structure that feels supportive and safe and yummy and good. And that will reflect the world that you're contributing to and the world we're building together. So reflect on where 4 degrees of Cancer is in your chart. What is this new beginning calling you to? What needs to be nurtured in this area of your life? And again, journal, meditate on this inner home, inner sanctuary. And I think that's all I have for you. I hope this touched your heart. I hope you feel like a warm hug coming through the video. I hope you can feel me walking beside you saying, you've got this, you can do this. A lot of people say to me they feel nurtured by me. I hope that you feel nurtured by yourself, but borrow my energy for a little bit. A lot of my clients say, I'll be stuck and I'll hear your voice in my head. I'll hear you, or I'll say, what would Victoria say to me right now? And I do this with my clients so that their inner voice becomes more loving and nurturing. So they get to borrow mine for a little bit until theirs kicks in, until their soul kicks in. So if you feel like any takeaway, please do comment below. If you feel nurtured by this video, let me know, even if it's just an emoji. But I love comments because that lets me know where my message is landing. And if you'd like support, I'd be honored to walk with you on your unfolding journey and support you through every transition towards your higher potential. And so again, go to my website, victoriajaswick.com. And so take good care of yourself until we see each other again. I'll have a video next week. I'm going to do one a week for a little bit until I feel ramped up to do a little bit more. All right. Peace be with you and your unfolding. Be gentle with yourself and just love yourself forward each and every moment. You're worthy. Okay. Bye-bye.